What's up, guys? Welcome to Wholesale Treasure Box training number 2. Today I want to talk about estimating repairs pre-appointment. So, as most real estate investors know, being able to accurately estimate repairs is extremely important. Aside from having the experience to back your estimates, most investors perform the estimates on site. Obviously, being at the property would give you a pretty good idea of what needs to be done, but as wholesalers know, your leads start with a phone call. The initial phone call with the seller is no doubt the most important one. Not only are you seeking to build trust and rapport, but you're also information gathering. Gathering the right information on the initial phone call can save you hours of work, leading you to become a more efficient wholesaler. Alright, so before we dig in, I just want to make it clear that starting your phone call with the seller in regards to condition of the property is probably not your best bet. You want to go off of a qualifying pillar. I like to start with motivation, following timeline, condition, and then price. So let's say you've qualified the seller in the first two pillars. You've got the motivation down. You've got the timeline down. Now you need to know the condition of the home. Being able to accurately estimate the repairs before you go on the appointment can be a game changer. Knowing the cost of the repairs before you go on the appointment could allow you to at least discuss a range with the seller so that you guys know you're in the same ballpark before going on the appointment. So using these questions we're about to go over will allow you to not only get a feel for the type of seller you're dealing with, but also know what type of situation you're walking into. Alright, so painting the picture for the seller. Keep in mind, coming from a place of genuine curiosity when you're speaking with the seller is the best approach you can take. This is not a script, but more of a guideline on how to navigate the conversation so that you can figure out what type of condition the property is in. As you ask these questions, not only are you painting a picture for the seller of what needs to be done, but you're also doing that for yourself. Alright, so question number 1. What type of condition is the property in? You'll likely get answers like good, fine, it's livable, or you'll even get, I don't know. These are all common answers and they are to be expected by the seller. However, some sellers are open books. If this is the case, let them talk. Question number 2. Have you made updates to the property in the last 5 to 10 years? This question can help you understand whether or not the seller's put money into the property. If updates have been done to the property, the chances of the seller wanting to get that money back at the sale of the property is very high. If the answer to that question is no, I haven't done updates in the last 5 to 10 years, I would follow up with these questions. Question number 3, what condition is the kitchen in? And again, the whole idea here is to paint a picture for the seller as well as yourself of what type of condition the property is in and what needs to be done. So questions like, is there granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, cabinets, flooring, stuff like that will give the seller a good idea of what needs to be done in the kitchen in order to get this thing up to date. Question number 4, what condition is the bathroom in? Does it have a new tub? Does it have a new shower? Does it have a new sink? How about the vanity? And as you're asking these questions, the seller will begin to realize that, hey, maybe this type of stuff does need to be done in order for me to get full market value. Alright, question number 5. Have the floors or carpets been replaced in the last 5 to 10 years? You know, ranging anywhere from $3.50 to $4.50 per square foot for flooring. When you're looking at a 1,000 to 2,000 square foot house, this can be a significant cost. So knowing whether or not you need to replace the floors can be great information when you're estimating repairs. Alright, question number 6. Have the windows been replaced in the last 5 to 10 years, or are they original to the home? This is huge, guys. Windows are expensive. They range anywhere between $200 on the low end all the way up to $400 on the high end. And when you have a house that has anywhere between 10 and 20 windows, you're looking at thousands of dollars. Alright, question number 7. Has the HVAC, the hot water heater, the boiler, any mechanical components of the property been replaced in the last 5 to 10 years? These types of things usually last about 10 years. So if they have been replaced within that time frame, it's likely that they'll need to be replaced if you're fully rehabbing the property. Alright, question number 8. When was the last time the roof was replaced? As most of you know, replacing a roof is not cheap. At $3.50 a square foot all the way up to $5 a square foot, you can range up to $9,000, $10,000 on a 2,000 square foot home. So it's not a cheap thing to replace. Make sure you know the condition of the roof prior to going out on the appointment. Ask the seller, when was the last time it was replaced? Is it original to the home? Are there any shingles missing? Have you had any leaks in the last couple years? Any questions that gives you a good idea of what type of condition the roof is in. Alright, question number 9. Are you on city water and sewer, or do you have a septic system? So replacing a septic system can be a monstrous job. I remember selling a property up in New Hampshire, and the leach field as well as the septic tank had to be replaced, and it cost almost $20,000 to do this. And this is something that I did not ask the seller before I put the property under contract. I ended up having to renegotiate the deal Thankfully, we were able to get it back under contract for a better price. But moving forward, asking whether or not the septic system is in good condition, has it been replaced, when's the last time it was pumped? Questions like these can give you a good idea of how old the system is and whether or not it needs to be replaced, because these things are costly. All right, question number 10. When's the last time the electrical has been updated? You know, questions as simple as does it have fuses or breakers can lead you to figuring out whether or not the system is extremely old, whether or not there's knob and tube wiring, or maybe they just have the electrical updated. Knowing what type of condition the electrical system is in is extremely important. These are not cheap things to fix either. All right, question number 12. Are there any major repairs that we need to know about before coming out of the appointment? I know this seems a bit vague, but you'd be surprised what sellers divulge when you ask simple questions like that. If you come across a seller who's an open book, they'll just start spilling the beans on all the problems that they've had with the property, all the things that need to be fixed. And this is information that you may have gotten without asking specific questions, but just because you asked the question in general, the seller starts spilling information. All right, so now that you have a solid grasp on what type of condition the property's in, it's time to set the appointment. Using this information that you just gathered during negotiation can be extremely useful. Considering the seller now understands what type of condition the home is in, it may be to your benefit to ask them if they had any plans to fix it up themselves. Question number 13. Do you plan on making these repairs yourself? Most homeowners are not contractors. They're not flippers, so the answer to this question is likely going to be no, which is a good thing because now you can go down the path of explaining to them or painting the picture of what it actually takes to get this thing ready to go back on the market. All right, question number 14. How much money would you put into the property if you were to fix it up yourself? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get I don't know or something ridiculous like $3,000. At the end of the day, you're going to have to determine how much the property needs in repairs. And rather than telling the seller they're wrong, help them understand what needs to be done to actually get this thing back on the market and ready to sell for full market value. All right, last but not least, the realization. Unfortunately, most sellers see homes in their neighborhood selling for fair market value, and they just assume that that's what their house is worth, and they pick a number and say, this is what I want. More often than not, their property is not in the same condition as the one that just sold, and helping them understand that their property has to be comparable to the ones that have sold in order for them to get the same price is extremely important when it comes to negotiating. A good way to communicate this to the seller would be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand you're looking to get X amount for the property. I wish I can offer you more, but in order for us to get fair market value for the property, it has to be comparable to the other homes that have sold recently in your neighborhood. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at these properties. You can actually hop online and check these out. They're absolutely gorgeous. They have granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, the whole 9 yards. What do you think it would take for us to get your property in that type of condition? The purpose of this communication is to allow the seller to paint their own picture. You aren't telling the seller what needs to be done, you're simply asking. It's likely that the seller doesn't know how much it's going to cost to fix the property up, but if you can help guide them down the path of understanding what it might take to get fair market value for the property, you stand a much better chance of getting your offer accepted. All right, guys, so that about wraps it up for estimating repairs pre-appointment. I really appreciate you listening in. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please drop a comment below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you're not a member of WholesaleTreasureBox.com, please check it out. It's an amazing place to communicate with other people, grow your network, use contracts, tools, calculators, anything you need. If it's not on there, I'll provide it. Thanks again, guys.